Hello and welcome. So we have our hoops dressed and ready to transfer our embroidery on. But first, our patterns are considered wildflowers. That's what I'm calling them, wildflower bunches. And did you know wildflower means free-spirited, uncultivated by the mainstream, and independent thinker, bravely growing wild and free in the world plagued by conformity. So I hope you're all wildflowers and think on your own and grow freely. Hello and welcome. I'm Jackie with Jackie Russell Creates, where we talk about everything quilting and embroidery. I give tips, tricks, and hacks, and, of course, techniques, so you can conquer that next quilting and embroidery project. So let's get started on transferring our patterns to our fabric. There are several ways that you can do it. The first way you can go and get these iron-on patterns from box stores. I think these are from Hobby Lobby. Fairly inexpensive. They're like $1.99, $2.99 a pack, and you get several designs in them. And they are reusable. So you can go something like this. And then, of course, you just iron those on. Or if you found patterns like mine off of Etsy, or you drew your own pattern and you're like, how do I transfer it on? Well, this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to transfer several different ways to our fabric. So the first thing that you want to do is get your pattern. In this pattern, I'm using the dandelion, and we're just going to roughly cut around it. It just helps make it easier. And then I am going to position it in my hoop, and I am on the front side, and I'm going to tape it down right to the fabric once I have it positioned. You can even tape it onto the hoop if it's cut. So there is it on. Now you can take this up to a window and trace it. You can just hold it up just to some light and trace it. Just go lightly, depending on your pen that you're using. I am using a friction pen, and you can see where I started tracing it. So I'm using my hand to also kind of help press the pattern up toward the fabric. And I'm just using the natural light I have in my house. Don't be afraid to move your hoop around. To be able to hold it comfortably as you trace. So this is one technique, or one way. And it don't have to be 100% perfect as the pattern. Now when you're doing it this way, you will have to remove your hoop. So you have it traced on. Now you remove this, your pattern, and you're going to have to now take your hoop, flip your fabric around, and dress your hoop just like we did before. And I will put the video on screen now that you can see, or it will be in the playlist at the end of the video. I will want to say you want to stick around because I'm going to give a tip sometime in here in this video that shows how to do it if you don't have any light. So there is the first way to do the pattern. The second way, if you don't want to remove the fabric and flip it around, you cut your pattern, and then you're going to lay it on the back side of your hoop, inside the hoop, and you're going to do it the same way. You're going to tape it down, and you can hold it up to a window. You can actually be able to see this way a little better, in my opinion. Then you will start to trace. So this is, let's see if this one works. Okay, so this is a water-soluble pen, and you can just trace using that. You can get these water-soluble pens at your box stores. And you just trace around. Now, if you would like all the patterns that I am showing, they will be in a kit on my Etsy store. I will link that in the description below. Yes, I am doing this kind of fast. I've done this several times. And then once you have this pattern traced on, you'll just remove the paper from the back and you'll have your pattern. Now that one's kind of light. Let me see. I also have this one, which is a air and water. So the blue actually does show up a little better. It also can get a disappearing, which is air and water. The problem with the air and water is that because it is air, it can disappear over time. So you just want to make sure that you have your project done before. So you just continue tracing it that way. But I feel that's a little harder on the hands. So I got this light box, or light pad. It's a wonderful tracing thing. It has 6 levels of adjustable lights, and it does wonders. So you take your pattern, and if you have to draw up, this one does have a stand, so you can lean your design up. I like to keep mine flat. So we're just going to tape our pattern to the box. And then I take my fabric, lay it over my pattern, and I tape it down. So I tape a corner and kind of smooth and stretch it just a little bit, not too much, just so it's nice and tight. And I do tack down all 4 corners of the fabric. It just kind of helps keep it in place. And then we're going to turn it on. And there's the 3 colors of light. And then it has the different adjustments. So you can use the same things. You can use friction pin, your water soluble pins, and you're just going to lightly trace. Now if you don't have a friction pin, you can use a pencil with the fine point, or you can use a micron 01 and just push very lightly, just so you have just a faint line, because it won't remove. And then you just continue to draw your pattern onto your fabric. Once this one's all drawn on, then you will dress your hoop like we did in the previous video. It will be linked in the description below. And coming up on screen in the right corner. Now I've traced millions of patterns, so I'm pretty fast at it. Don't think you have to be this fast. Take your time. Get your lines. They don't have to be 100% perfect, but you know, get them so you can see what they are. If there's a stitch that looks interesting to you, put in the comments below, and I will be glad to do a video showing how to make them. So yes, now I've been doing it, showing you how to do it all on light colored. But what if you want to do something on black or a dark fabric? Well, there's a way for that as well. You can use a light box. So now my pattern's traced. Oops, almost, I forgot a little bit. Hopefully you don't do that. But if you do, you just line it back up and draw in what you missed. But there's my pattern. Now I just have to put it in my hoop. So you can use a light box. It will help on the dark fabric, but it also depends on your transparency of your fabric. So as you can see, I'm hoping you can be able to see the design through, and then you can be able to take a white pen and be able to draw. But instead of doing it that way, I'm going to lay my fabric down just right on the table. And you can tape it down if you want. And then I got some carbon paper. You can get this at any art supply store. It's used in painting. But you can use it for here, or you can get your the transfer paper for dressmaking. So we're going to lay our paper, our carbon paper, down so the marking comes onto our fabric. Okay. Then we're going to take our design and we're going to put on top. And for this one, you can use any type, pencil, regular pen. And you're just going to press a little firmly on the lines all the way around your design. And what's going to happen is the white will show through, and you'll be able to see it on your fabric. And then you'll be able to dress your hoop and start embroidering. And I don't know how well you can see that design with the light, but I can be able to see it. And then I'll be able to dress my hoop. So I hope you got a way to be able to transfer your patterns. Play with the different ways and see which way works for you. Now, like I said, stick around and there's going to be a tip. So some people don't have, or they turn their lights off at night. It's dark. The way I look at it is maybe the power's out and you got to have something to do. So turn your flashlight on your phone. Take your pattern, and now you have a light source. You lay it. You have your pattern. You have your light behind it, and you can see your pattern to be able to trace behind it. So when I said you could have it up against the window, say it's dark outside, you ain't got. Now you have your light source. You have your light source to be able to trace your patterns on. So never forget about your phone or even a flashlight. If you have a flashlight, you can use a flashlight, to be able to hold, to see your pattern if it's dark. And you don't have electricity or whatever. So, I hope you got something out of this video. Try experimenting with the different techniques. See which one works best for you, because not all of them are comfortable for some people. Like holding it up and trying to trace, that's kind of hard on my fingers. That's why I like the light box. So, play around, see what works best for you. Hi. Once again, I want to remind you that we are all wildflowers. We're free-spirited, independent thinkers, and we bravely grow wild, free in the world, plagued with conformity. Make sure you're being yourself. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with your friends. And I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you know the next time I upload the next video in our series, which will be picking out our DMC floss, threading our needle in a couple different ways, and working with the DMC floss. So until then, happy quilting and embroidery, my friends.